Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. It's Tuesday, the 15th of February, and I'm here with one of my dearest friends, the amazing Michelle Spurzell. She is with Harbor House of Central Florida, and this week is Walk a Mile in Her Shoes 2022, 9th annual. I can't believe it. So we're, of course, talking about it. It's Thursday. You can still donate. You can still sign up, which we'll talk about. You can sign up for my team if you'd like. Yes, Ted Bogert will be walking down Orange Avenue in heels of some kind. It's an amazing organization and a great event that brings awareness to domestic violence victims and what's going on in our world. Michelle, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am fantastic now that you're here. I'm very excited to talk about this. You know, this is one of my very favorite events of the year. It's not that I love to walk down Orange Avenue in heels, but I might. And but I do love what Harbor House does and what it represents. So tell them a little bit about you first, and then let's talk about Harbor House.
So Michelle Spurzell, I've been at Harbor House I started my 6th year.
Wow.
So yeah, that's gone really, really, really fast. And so I'm the CEO of Harbor House, and it's been an amazing journey. We have a wonderful community that's really in support of survivors of domestic violence. And we are the domestic violence provider that's certified for here in Orange County. And we have our emergency shelter. On our campus for our shelter, we have our kennel, which you've done a lot of work with us as well, with our Pause for Peace Walk. And then we also have 13 other locations in Orange County. So we're in Apopka. We're also in East Orange. We are downtown. We have 2 offices downtown, one at the courthouse, one on Colonial. So we are just where people need us to be in order to receive services.
So talk about that. Let's talk about domestic violence. I'm a childhood domestic violence survivor. Mm-hmm. And so this cause obviously is near and dear to my heart because I experienced it in my own household. Let's talk about, have things gotten better? Are you seeing more? What's going on in the world as far as domestic violence in our world here?
We are seeing more people who are living with abusers right now in the community who are reaching out for help with getting injunctions filed. And then also we have advocates that are co-located with law enforcement. And so those are the advocates that have been really busy. And we've seen an increase in the type of violence that's happening in the home. And going from, it being more verbal and emotional abuse, and then also it catapults into being strangulation or a weapon involved. And so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing really big cases, highly lethal cases. And so we're working with survivors in that way. And then the other piece is that we're having a lot of people reach out to us that are not interested in getting law enforcement involved because of the fact that they know that they need to have some sort of interaction with the abuser as far as making sure that they're able to get funding from them. They need to be able to have, a shared parenting plan, or even for somebody to work, they need that abuser's help to be able to babysit and whatnot. So that's what we're seeing a lot more of is the fact that people who want to get out of the situations, that we're taking more time to plan with them and how they can actually do it.
They plan, and I think the plan is it's important because I think a lot of I know my situation. There were no real services available back in the Stone Age.
It's not the Stone Age. I think that's a good thing to point out is that the domestic violence movement is still relatively young. I mean, it's 46, 47 years old. I mean, when you think about that, it was less than 50 years ago that was a woman in a relationship or a man in a relationship, but mostly women in the relationships were considered property.
It's crazy. Y'all should Google that. There's obviously I love the organization, but there's 2 things about the organization that I do want to point out. Talk about why having a kennel, why having a place for pets is so important in the work that you do.
Often animals are the first victims within the family. And so that's one reason why we have the kennel. The other reason we have is that it's much harder for someone to leave if they have their pets because they don't want to leave their pets behind. Because if someone's abusing you physically and emotionally, the likelihood of them abusing your animals after you leave is really, really high. And so that's another reason why. And the third is just a beautiful unintended consequence. It's that the animals have all that unconditional love to help someone heal. Yes. And so when you are leaving, and a lot of times our survivors, they spend a lot of time with their cats, a lot of times with their dogs, and it allows this type of normalcy within it, but the animals just continue to give love.
And a lot of times they are threatened. The abuser threatens to kill, sad but true, kill, hurt, maim the pet. And it is also a large deterrent. Talk about men, because you also house domestic violence survivors who are men.
I do. And also, I don't want to cut you off when telling your story, because I was like, wait, we're a young movement. So I do want you to share your story.
No.
So for male survivors like yourself, we work with survivors that are survivors of domestic violence from their childhood. We also work with young men and young boys who are coming in with the non-offending parent. And I say non-offending parent because we have both male and female survivors that are living with us in our emergency shelter. We work with a lot of male survivors with our injunction for protection attorneys. Oftentimes, that's where they first reach out to us. They need help filing an injunction. They go to the courthouse. The clerk of court tells them to go upstairs, and we work with them. And so if we're going to be looking at where do we serve the most men, it's going to be with our court program.
Did you see, and then I want to talk about Walk a Mile, did you see we talked about an increase. How rough or how much of an impact did COVID have on the domestic violence cases?
So we saw a lot of increase in the numbers of people who are reaching out for injunctions. And part of that is because the courts never closed. And so that people knew that if they needed some sort of help and support, that the courts were open and that's where they could go. So there was that piece that we saw. The other thing that we saw as far as the change that we've continued, we added a text and advocate for our hotline. And so someone can call us, but the same number, you can utilize that in order to text us for help and support. And then the other piece is that we moved some of our support groups. We made them so that they would be online or Zoom. That was incredibly helpful as well. So like there's some positive things that happened out of COVID as far as us being able to really kind of answer the need that people had. The other piece, and we're super proud about this, is that we had a lot of people who are friends and family members of individuals that are going through a domestic violence situation reach out to us. And so we created two different programs. One is a program that's called, it's Checking In, and it is a workshop. So it is a 8-week workshop where you could go as a friend or family member and learn more about domestic violence so that you can help. But also we've started a domestic violence support group for friends and family members. And when we started the support group, we did not know how untapped that piece is. And so we have that support group, and we have people from all over the United States who call into that Zoom and are just talking through, how do I help? How do I support? Can I be there for my daughter or my brother? So yeah.
So let's talk about Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. What is the concept there? I mean, we've talked about it on the show for years, but give anybody who's tuning in the 411 on what exactly Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is about, and then what happens. And then behind us, as you can see, there's some of those shoes, which later on tonight, hopefully, I'll be sending you some pictures of me on a red carpet, maybe a little video, kind of giving you an idea of what you can expect when you show up on Thursday.
So Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is a very fun, lighthearted event that raises awareness as far as men's involvement in domestic violence, the domestic violence movement. And so I say that it's fun and lighthearted because the idea is that we ask men like yourself, Mayor Dyer, another, to wear high heels and walk a mile down Orange Avenue in women's shoes. And the idea is, yes, some people laugh, some people are just caught off guard by it, they are uncomfortable by it, but the idea is to really put on someone else's shoes and walk a mile so that you get the experience of how it can be difficult for a survivor going through a domestic violence situation to navigate everything that's happening. So that's why it's called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. We also have a lot of men who come out to support, and we added, and my favorite part is a few years ago, we added what we call placards, and they say, I'm walking in honor of, or I'm walking in support of, and people can write down, my mom, my sister, myself. And so that is such a great reminder of why we're all there as well. And the other piece is, really men holding other men accountable, because as a woman, I can do what I can, but we also know that, that we're in a society where men listen to men more when they're listening to each other. And so if a man is saying enough is enough, you shouldn't treat somebody that way, it has a lot more power. And so that's the other piece that we're really talking through with this event is making sure that men are helping the movement and men are part of the movement to end domestic violence.
It's so impactful. The last time we did it, I just remember those signs and reading those. And if you don't get choked up, you don't have a heart, because these people really are walking for not just survivors, but maybe people that they lost because of domestic violence. It is very impactful. And what I love about it is the city, the county, they really get behind the walk. You will see Mayor Dyer in some heels. I don't know what he's going to wear this year, but some kind of shoe. Sheriff Mina will be there too, if I'm not mistaken. He never wears the shoes. No, he doesn't. But, it's all right. The fact that we're all there to support, I think, is so important, and to bring awareness to it. And I love how the city wraps its arms around Harbor House, and the county too, and wraps its arms around Harbor House and the Walk a Mile event. And I can tell you that it starts at the courthouse. I will put the links in the comments after the show. It starts at the courthouse at 5. You can register, pick up your registration, do whatever you'd like to do. And then the walk starts at 6 o'clock. So what can they expect when 6 o'clock goes? What happens for those people who have not seen it or participated before?
So we have, it's a very front-loaded event. So we want to make sure that everybody has a good time when we are starting everything. So we added t-shirts again this year. So we have some black t-shirts that say "Get Pumped," and with a teal high heel this time. Last year it was red. So that's one piece that we have, but we also have a couple different booths out there that have community partners. And so people can get more information about Harbor House, more information about the Victim Service Center. The other piece that we have in the beginning is that we'll have a lot of the different dignitaries will say a few words about their support of domestic violence, how they are part of the solution and here in Orange County. And I can't say this often enough or loud enough, is that we live in such an amazing, unique community where people really care for survivors and want to do things for survivors, but want to make sure that the social changes that were happening or the changes to policies that we're doing are impactful. And I've lived and worked in different parts of the United States, and what we have here when it comes to people being engaged in domestic violence work and being on the solution side is totally amazing. I'm so proud and oftentimes very humbled by it. So people will give their words of support. Then we have a few awards that we'll give away. So if people want to join Ted's team and help him get to be the largest team or even the largest fundraising team,
yes,
we do hand out different awards in the beginning of the event. And then everybody will start walking. And then if people walk down Orange Avenue, they get to the finish line, which is going to be at City Hall. There we have some luminarias that will be lit for individuals who have sent in names of people that they want to honor or get in support of. And so you can go and look for your luminaria. And then after that, people leave. It's a really fast, it
really goes by event. Once 5 o'clock hits, and then once 6 o'clock hits. I mean, it really does go by quickly.
It does.
There's so much support up and down Orange Avenue. I'm sure people who are trying to get out are honking for different reasons, but I can tell you the majority of them are honking because they see the signs, they're moved, they see what's going on, and they know it's for an amazing cause. And so we have tons of support up and down Orange Avenue when we walk. Yes, people, I know you don't believe it, but I actually walk a mile, let alone in some women's shoes. Those two things are just very rare, once a year usually, but it is impactful, it's moving, it's powerful. And I just want to tell you how much I love what you do in the community and this event. So how can they register, which I'll put in the link, but still tell them, how can they find out more about Harbor House and the walk?
So people can go to harborhousefl.com, which is our website, and you can go to Give Help and to our event section, and you'll see how to sign up for Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. You can do that. You can also go to Ted's page, and then you can join his team, which is amazing. Like I said, largest fundraising team. Yay! Hey. We are not, this is one thing that is unique about this event, is that it is not necessarily a fundraiser, but because people have really stepped into supporting it, it has ended up raising some dollars. And so that's fantastic as well. I think we're almost at $8,000 raised.
Wow.
I mean, our goal is right around 15. And it's one of those things to help offset the cost of the event. But in the age of COVID, we set our goal a little bit higher because of the fact that a lot of the different companies that we normally give to us are unable to. And so as far as setting a goal for fundraising, we went a little bit higher this year in order for us to be helping the survivors that we have living in shelter. So, yeah.
Thank you for all you do. You know, I love and appreciate you. Got to give a shout out to the other Michelle. Love and appreciate her. Y'all come on out. Look at these amazing shoes. We've got this. Look.
It's so sparkly.
Look. And yes, dudes, you can find these shoes in your size because this is definitely a bigger person size. There's actually a shop if you want to find out more. I will put you in touch with a couple of them.
Or you can shop on Amazon.
I got my shoes at some place called ASOS. But you can find them anywhere. And if you are really interested and want to get involved and want to do the walk in the traditional way, as I would call it, then reach out to me or Michelle. I'd be happy to get you in touch. Looking forward to Thursday, 5 o'clock is registration.
Yes.
Check in, and 6 o'clock is the event. Follow the link, follow me, reach out. We'd love to see you there. Let's get behind our domestic violence survivors and bring more awareness to what's going on in our world. Thank you. Love you to pieces. We'll see you guys soon. This is so funny standing up and doing this. We'll see you soon. Walk a mile in her shoes, 9th annual.